Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the program Business Time. It is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country, and my name is William Kumwembe. In the program today, we look at Malawi's positioning to make the most of the international tobacco market as local volumes have been lowering in the recent years. And also in the program, the Budget and Finance Committee of Parliament says Malawi needs to grow the economy significantly to start raising enough domestic resources. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome. This is Business Time, and we start with our main story in the program. Malawi, an agrarian economy, has in recent years been subjected to harsh weather conditions from a year of drought to another with heavy downpours. This, coupled with factors like lowering prices, have continued to affect output of the country's main export crop, tobacco. And Malawi has been missing substantial export opportunities despite having had a record-breaking foreign exchange earnings from the green god. An analysis of 5-year industry data reveals that while there is a steady increase in earnings from the crop and fluctuating production volumes, the country continues to miss demand volumes. For example, industry projections for 2025 indicate that Malawi will produce an estimated 174.4 million kilograms of all types of tobacco against demand of 231 million kilograms of all types of tobacco. This signifies a shortfall of 39.4 million kgs in the crop's production. What explains the situation and what is the possible remedy? These are some of the questions our journalist Chimwemwe Mangazi attempts in this report.
An analysis of 5-year industry data reveals that while there is a steady increase in earnings from the crop and fluctuating production values, the country continues to miss demand volumes. For example, industry projections for 2025 indicate that Malawi will produce an estimated 174.4 million kilograms of tobacco against demand at 213 million kilograms. This signifies a shortfall of 39.4 million kilograms in the crop's production. Last year, tobacco production was recorded at 133.4 million kilograms, while demand for the green gold stood at 190 million kilograms, protracting a staggering 56.6 million kilograms production deficit. But why has the country failed to boost tobacco production? Ali Sande is a tobacco farmer based at Mayaka 2 in Zomba district.
The major problem has been weather changes. Most of the time, farmers plan for produce according to the demand, but it is frustrated by, for example, dry spells that have destroyed the crops in the nursery. Increased cost of imports, such as fertilizer, has also affected production, as farmers can no longer afford. We are mostly forced to reduce on the labor force because we are responsible for their well-being, and the increase in cost of living has exacerbated the problem. Therefore, a reduced workforce means reduced production.
Tobacco Association of Malawi Trust Vice President Rhodes Sulumba says changes in weather patterns have also affected production in recent years.
That is so because of a number of factors. Firstly, is the rainfall pattern. As you know, this year the rain came earlier in December, but after the farmers planted, the rain went away. The crop died in the fields, and the farmers had to fetch for other sources of getting seedlings to plant in their gardens. This is the first factor. Secondly, rising cost of inputs that we apply in the field to grow tobacco, like fertilizer, you have seen this year tobacco has gone, fertilizers have gone up to 120, 130 thereabout. This has affected farmers to buy more fertilizers to apply in their fields to grow much tobacco. Those big issues, there are two big issues. Rainfall, firstly. Secondly, rising cost of farm inputs. A farmer has to be always get ready and have more nurseries so that when the rains comes area, he can plant. When the rains delays, he can also plant. But having more nurseries in a time, sowed in one time, can affect farmers. That when the rains comes area, maybe he cannot manage to plant because maybe the seedlings can be small.
Authorities from the Tobacco Commission also acknowledge that there is a combination of factors affecting tobacco production in the country. Its spokesperson, Forest Kumwembe, says in some years, farmers felt let down by prices. Consequently, some farmers withdrew from the crop, which led to reduced tobacco hectarage. As global markets continue to demand more Malawi tobacco than the country can produce, the question remains whether farmers and the authorities will find common ground to bring this gap and unlock the crop's full economic potential.
The Budget and Finance Committee of Parliament has said Malawi needs to grow the economy significantly to start raising enough domestic resources to run on it. Budget and Finance Committee of Parliament Chairperson Gladys Ganda was speaking when she presented her committee reaction to the 2025-2026 national budget presented by Finance Minister Simplex Chichola Banda 2 weeks ago. According to Ganda, it is worrying to note that in the proposed budget, expenditure has been projected to grow by a whopping 2 trillion kwacha, when revenue will only grow by 952 billion kwacha. She explains to our journalist, Taonga Sabola.
From the budget and finance perspective, we were concerned with the fact that the increase in the expenditure side is much higher than the increase in the revenue side. You may have noticed that the expenditure side increased by almost 2 trillion, whilst the budget side increased by 900 billion kwacha. That is a cause for concern. So what it means that it will create a huge gap that should be financed by loans or by borrowing. Doing that, it means more Malawians will be required to pay for the debt, and that's very concerning. So as Budget and Finance Committee, we called upon the Honourable Minister of Finance to look into that and also make sure that we probably broaden our tax base, make sure that we generate more revenue, make sure that the state-owned enterprises do efficiently work to generate more revenue for the government. We are talking about debts because we are as a nation, we are failing to get more tax revenue or expand our tax base. So if we focus on expanding tax base, making sure that the state-owned enterprises also perform, we should be able to generate more revenue for the country and close or reduce the debt that is there. As we speak, Malawi is debt stressed. As I said earlier on, we are as of last year, the debt has hit over 16 trillion Malawi kwacha. So that's also a worrisome development. With regards to recommendations that we made as a committee, first and foremost, we are mindful of the fact that any country is run by its tax revenue. So it's a tax revenue that mainly drives the revenue side of the economy. So we pleaded with the Minister of Finance to look at that tax revenue, look at it, especially MRA, make sure that MRA is assisted so that it's efficient and also effective in terms of its tax collection. Why they need tax base? There are so many probably people and other institutions out there that are still not paying taxes. For example, there is property tax. We are not getting much from the property tax. And there are also some individuals that are not even paying taxes. So there's need for us to look for all those revenue leakages and close those revenue leakages. Another area that is also where we are also losing revenue is in terms of illicit financial flows and also tax expenditure. As a country, we are losing over $500 million a year in terms of illicit financial flows and tax expenditure. So there is need also to close all those revenue loopholes and make sure that we take that into a basket that is not, that does not leak. So that's the first recommendation that we made. The second one is also to look at the debt itself. There's need for us to manage the debt. We cannot just keep borrowing. Yes, some people say that borrowing is good if it's for investment, but there's a limit where you can borrow. The country has overborrowed, and we need to now start looking at ways of managing that debt, whether it's by restructuring or probably looking also for some debt relief if that would be possible. Now, the other issue is expenditure side. That's a critical issue. As a nation, we are not very serious in terms of fiscal discipline. There is need to seriously look at fiscal discipline, look at serious cost containment measures, cost-cutting measures. We should look at our priorities. Let's do things that are within our priorities. We call it priorities within our priorities. So we need to look at that. There are some, expenditures that can be pended, like travel, for argument's sake. Travel is one of the expenditures that is taking in a lot of funding. So if we may, as a nation, take a deliberate step to cut that travel, only travel when it's necessary, you will see that that budget will at least will be able to reduce some debt. Therefore, there are so many recommendations that we've made as Budget and Finance Committee, and we hope the minister will look into those recommendations as well. Apart from also investing in agriculture and also in import substitution sectors of this economy, we have to grow our economy. If we're not going to grow this economy, there's no way we are going to get any revenue. We are going to have this talk this year and next year because we're failing to grow. So there's need for us to grow our economy. How do we grow the economy? Invest in productive sectors. Invest in import substitution sectors.
Now, Minister of Industry and Trade, Vitumbiko Mumba, has issued a directive to the Malawi Investment and Trade Center to scrutinize all investors seeking to buy plots in the country's special economic zones. This follows a tour of Chigumula Industrial Park in Blantyre, which he conducted alongside the Parliamentary Committee on Trade to appreciate the progress made in developing the park. It has transpired that 4 companies have already committed to take up 14 hectares out of the park's 22 hectares and are ready to invest a total of $19.41 million and creating 3,000 jobs. We have the whole story in this report.
This is a special economic zone for light and medium industrial companies. So we are saying that we need to have a warehouse that can be used by MRA as an exit point for all the exports, because people here will be adding value to their products, agricultural. So we need to have an exit point from here, which can be used as a MRA extra customs warehouse. That's the first one. Secondly, we're saying that all the investors that are coming to buy land here or lease land here, they must provide proof of availability of funds. If not, they must provide line of credit with a bankable business plan. That should be the condition, because we don't want people here to buy land and keep it for years just wanting to sell it to someone else afterwards. So those are the directives that I've given. The delays in implementing the project have led to price escalations, as well as funding has always been a challenge. And you have seen that there is a bridge there that needs to be done. We've given directive that, no, please, can you rework this, give us a total figure so that the MPs can scrutinize and look at how they can help us to get funding for completion of this project. Because we can't be talking of the SE zone for 3-4 years. This works, if funding is available, it's a matter of 12 months you are done. It's in 2 months if funding is available. If there's no funding, it can take another year. It depends on our available funds. But so far, overall, in terms of the quality of the work, it looks impressive. And the workmanship is very good. So we just hope that we'll get the funds. And we must prioritize this as a government, because it can help us to unlock international market and help our farmers get a market locally to sell their products, because this is more about adding value to agricultural products. We have to sit down with them and say, where did we do A, B, C, D? Because what I've said now is not from me. is what's supposed to be done. So if that was not done, they nobody look at all that kind of thing again.
Australian-based mining exploration and development company Lydian Resources Limited has launched construction of a 5-kilometer access road to its Kangankude rare earth site in Balaka district. This ignites hopes of kickstarting mining operations in 2026 at what will become the site of the world's largest rare earth deposit. The Kangankude rare earth deposit has an estimated value of $1 billion during its initial mine life. Valued at $1.3 million, the access road will enable the safe and efficient transportation of personnel, equipment, and materials. Lydian Resource Limited chairperson is Rob Martin and rated commencement of the project as entailing the firm's commitment to bring the Kangankude rare earth project into production.
The mine will go through certain phases. We've obviously done exploration, we've done study work to work out what we need to do to process the ore. The next step is to finalise the finance, which is happening as we speak, and then we will start with a design and construct contract, which will happen fairly quickly. So we'd expect to be extracting ore within 12 to 13 months. The access road will take 5 months, but I believe the guys are going fairly well on it, so it may be a little bit less than that. So that'll be finished within possibly 3.5 months. So we've already started that. We've donated to local schools, we've built the police station. We are going to probably help out the school a little bit more in the coming weeks and really be able to offer the locals some work. Eventually we'd like to be able to offer apprenticeships where we can teach a trade, so we can teach and pass on the skills that we have to the Malawian people, and then they can do this for themselves. It's no good if we don't help with our skill set, because that's what Australian mining companies have. They have a skill set and been doing it a very long time, and we hope to pass those skills on to the local community, which will help us and help them as well.
Now, Minister of Mining Kenneth Zikali Ngoma said the project is expected to create jobs, stimulate economic activity, and contribute to the country's economic development.
I'm so grateful today and very thankful to the President and the leadership of this country, for initiating the ATM strategy, which mining is part of. And what Lydian Associates Limited have done here in Balaka is something commendable, and I'm very grateful to the mining companies. They'll be extracting what we call rare minerals, that is used in high-tech technologies, batteries and some other things, which will attract almost 60 to 80 million US from our government, which is something commendable. And there are deposits over 60 million kilograms in this Kangankude hill alone, which is a sign that out of mining, the economy of Malawi completely changed and take a new twist, new dimension that will see Malawi as one of the very rich countries in this part of Africa.
Now, in other business news, the Southern African Development Community SADC has challenged Malawi to join the International Bureau of Weights and Measurements. SADC Regional Coordinator Donald Masuka made the remarks on Monday during a 2-day workshop for SADC member states on weights and measurements traceability in Blantyre. Masuku said joining the agreement can help the country improve its trade and commerce performance on the regional and global markets.
It's very important because we are trying to compare our standards among the SADC countries so that these standards are traceable to the international standards. So Malawi is playing a very critical role in terms of organizing this workshop, and for us to come and hold this workshop in Malawi so that we can compare all these results that the labs in the SADC region have conducted. Malawi has actually made a lot of progress from the time when they started building capability in the metrology traceability infrastructure. We've just been informed that they've got a new lab that has been developed. So we believe that Malawi is on the right path in terms of them making sure that the standards that or the measurements that are being conducted in Malawi, they are traceable to international standards. They have also been very active in participating in the activities in the SADC region and also at the Pan-African level. In fact, Malawi is taking some of the technical committees role that they're playing in the AfriMed's activities. Like I've said, the fact that they've got a new facility, that is a step forward towards that. But also I think the next step would be for Malawi to actually join the International Committee of Weights and Measures as an associate member, because currently Malawi is not an associate member of the BIPM. So the first step would be for Malawi to become an associate member of the BIPM, so that whatever measurements that they take here, they can be recognized at international level. And that will actually help Malawi as an economy to say that if all the products that you test and measure in Malawi, they will be accepted in the region and internationally. But first, you will need to become a member of BIPM.
And Malawi Bureau of Standards Acting Director of Meteorological Services, Stephen Chilimba, rated the move as ideal for the country to make the most of the available opportunities on the global landscape.
The whole aim of the workshop that we are having, which is covering the SADC region, is to ensure measurement traceability and to ensure that our measurements, especially in temperature, are accurate in the country and comparable to our colleagues within the region.
So what are the nitty-gritties, what are the key issues that you are discussing, and maybe as a Malawi, where are we in terms of making sure that we are conforming with these standards?
Currently, as Malawi, we are trying to pursue accreditation in temperature measurements. So this workshop will greatly help us to achieve that goal. The accreditation in temperature will help the industry to ensure that, and also not only the industry, but also the health sector, which utilizes temperature measurements whenever maybe they are trying to prescribe medications and so on and so forth, and in the diagnosis of various ailments. So we believe that our accreditation in temperature will help improve the health and safety of Malawians, the public, but also assist the industry at large. We believe that going forward, we will cut down on international calibrations in certain areas. For example, most of our equipment, temperature measurement equipment in the country, currently we send it abroad for calibrations. But we believe that with the accreditation at hand, most of the equipments can be calibrated locally through us as a National Meteorology Institute for our country.
Well, that story. We've also come to the end of today's edition of the program Business Time here on Times Television. It is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is William Kumwembe. Thank you for watching, but always remember, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. Stay safe and goodbye for now.